Hi. I've been I've been pretty disappointed to see quite a few of my liberal friends um, express an extremely strong opinion that Muslim girls should be banned from wearing a hijab in school. Not that they should be forced to wear a hijab in school, but banned from having a hijab in school. This, of course, comes from friend of the pod countries, France, where the idea of banning girls from wearing hijab in school was presented as this very secular, liberal, universalist thing. When it's like, dude, shut the fuck up. We know what you're doing. You don't like Muslims. You don't want them to be in schools. You want to exercise power over them. You want to fuck with them. You want to humiliate these girls by making them take off their headscarves to be part of French society. It's not that complicated. Like, don't dress it up in all this oh, it's all about the French Revolution and as universal. No, you just don't like Muslims. You're doing the same thing that the Swiss did when they banned minarets or something. Like it's it's clear what you're doing. You're just pretending not to be doing that. So we come to the issue in the United States. Should girls be able to wear uh, should girls be allowed to wear a minaret in school? Absolutely not. Should girls be able to wear a hijab in school? Absolutely not. This is a very strongly liberal feminist point of view to be taking, according to lots of people that I talk to. Like, it's so awful they make them wear the hijab. It's outrageous. Like they're they're being oppressed by their patriarchal Muslim fathers. It's like, have you ever heard of a patriarchal other father? Like, and also, could a Muslim young woman or girl decide to wear a hijab? You're saying it should be banned across the board. So if a young woman wanted to wear it, you're saying they can't. And I've asked people who are against this, and they say, well, the father or mother are forcing them to do it. Well, what if they aren't? Well, I don't know. I mean, a friend of mine um, came to the United States in the early 2000s, and they were coming into an extremely hostile environment as a young Muslim woman from a majority Muslim country, and she wanted to wear a hijab as a protest against the racism and discrimination that she saw happening around her, not because her dad told her to do it, not because her mom told her to do it, but because she wanted to. And when I mentioned this hype, non hypothetical example to the libs who are like, hijabs are awful. Like, you can never allow hijabs. Um, they're just like, well, her dad made her do it. It's like, can a 11-year-old girl not have agency? Is that not possible? Um, only in a Muslim family is it possible for a young woman to not have any perspective of her own or agency. That's what you're telling me. I've gone through this like the fucking Mobius strip with people. It's like, well, I mean, but this is not really their own choice. Like, they must be oppressed. Like, come on. Like, they come on. They their dad's making them do it. Like, can a young woman or girl have a free choice, or can their family have a free choice? That's the other thing. Like, every other fucking religion, from Mormon to Buddhist or whatever, can have their kids do things that they want them to do that are normal, uh, customary, or custodial, or sumptuary, like in terms of what you eat or what you wear, or like, or I mean, like I asked people like, is it okay for a guy to wear a yarmulke to school? And they're like, that sounds alright. And it's like, is it okay for a girl to wear a hijab to school? And they're like, no, that covers their hair. It's because the Muslims are trying to like cover their hair and like make them and oppress them. It's like, I mean, a yarmulke definitely covers part of their hair. So what about a Sikh who like wears a turban and they're like, I don't know what that is. Um, they're like, I mean, I yarmulke, hijab, turban. I actually don't know, but it's like it's always based on this idea that like a girl or a woman has no choice and no agency. So a Sikh guy who wears a turban, eh, which all of them think is what Arab guys wear, but it's not. But still, like it's based on the idea that like these young people don't have a choice in anything. They have no individuality. If you've ever met a teenager or a preteen, you know they have a lot of individuality. And even in the most repressive structure, maybe their parents like have decided that they need to wear a turban or a yarmulke or a hijab to school. Like maybe that's what their parents have coerced them to do. But like, whose fucking business is it of yours? Like, this is the American thing, and I strongly believe in it. Like, beyond like hurting other people and beyond interfering with the ordinary workings of things, you should be able to express your religion. And this has happened in the US military where it's like, can you wear a yarmulke or can you grow a beard as a Sikh? Like, these issues have been litigated with the US military. It's like, we say you have to be clean shaven, you have nothing in your head. Like our country has been pretty pretty particular in like respecting, I think, a lot of religious differences, and I don't understand why liberal, like pluralist kind of people can't get the hijab thing. For some reason, the hijab is very specific in their mind, and they can't let go of it because I guess it just represents like female oppression in some way that none of those other hats or styles like do. So just like now, like to turn this toward an analogy, which is if the hijab is so evil, then what's going on with the Republicans and all this like gay shit and trans shit? So basically, what a lot of Republican officials in the Southeast, particularly like Tennessee, Florida, places like that, in 2022, 2023, have said is like, we're going to pass laws that require the teachers and the administrators of schools to report to parents if their kids are representing as a different gender or asking for different pronouns. So they're basically asking for a surveillance state to police against trans and non binary and other gender or other queer identities. What those states are asking for, and those Republican parties are asking for, is to have it be politically litigated what a 12-year-old who wants to be called he or she or they or whatever to be reported to the authorities, to be reported to their parents, to be surveilled, and then to be disallowed to do that. They say this is for the benefit of the children. Fuck, are you? Am I fucking a fucking moron? Like, this is meant to be a way to like terrorize. Can you imagine being a 12 or 13-year-old kid in Tennessee or Texas who is struggling with their gender identity or sexuality or sexual orientation or whatever, or maybe they're intersex. Like, I want to talk to my friends at school. I want to talk to the one teacher that I trust at school to say I was assigned female at born, and like I think that I might be a trans male or um, anything, or I think I might be gay. Like, they're creating a surveillance apparatus to oppress you and to terrify you as a 12-year-old child because you might tell someone about who you are. Now, rewind that back. That's what's happening in these Republican states. What does it mean in a liberal state to be told you can't wear a hijab at school? How is that not a similar, like, imposition? And I would argue kind of like a, a kind of terror that's imposed on you, because if you're an 11-year-old, like 12-year-old, 13-year-old Muslim girl who goes to school, and if you wear the hijab and the hijab is banned and you're not allowed to do it, how's that girl going to be feeling? How's that girl going to be feeling any differently than a queer boy or girl or trans person in Texas or Tennessee? But my progressive and liberal friends are like, oh no, the hijab is so oppressive, blah, blah, blah. What's actually oppressive is the apparatus of the state and your community that is teaming up to exclude you and make you scared and terrified and denying you the expression of just like, I'm a boy who wants to show up wearing eyeliner at school. Well, my parents are going to be reported to the Texas State Department of uh, Child Protective Services. This stuff has happened. Like trans kids' parents have been reported to the authorities in Texas for child abuse. So like, what if how is that different from a hijab? You're saying, oh, we can't wear a hijab. We should ban the hijab. It's oppressive. Well, what's actually oppressive here? Telling children that they can't come to school, like representing the way that they are, or they want to be, or how they want to express themselves, or even how their parents want that. Like, a girl can come to school wearing a hijab because their parents want them to. Like, that's fine. This is fucking America. We're supposed to have freedom of expression. Maybe that young woman will like stop wearing the hijab whenever she wants. But like, why is the hijab thing like so fixated on by U.S. liberals? I really think that's something to think about. Um, and I really strongly wish that my liberal friends on the left would like think about like how fixating on the hijab is not that different from fixating on whether a boy comes to school in a dress. And the Tennessee legislature is going to say, "Oh, that's not allowed. We're going to report that kid," or at least that kid's social studies teacher has to like report them to their parents as like a fucking Gestapo. Like, that's what's happening. And that's what I mean by like freedom and liberty. Like, freedom and liberty are words that get thrown around a lot in US political discourse, but like, and the right and left always disagree about them. But I feel like this is one opportunity where we actually could agree on the like, don't bully children, don't tell them who they have to be, whether they're Muslim, whether they're gay or queer, or trans or bigender or polysexual or polyamorous. Like, just don't go into the lives of children and tell them what to do. This is the flip side of all this like child predator grooming stuff. No, you are like, that stuff does happen, but the state and the community are the people who are actually like terrorizing kids. So think about a girl who wants to wear a hijab at school, and her teachers tell her she or administrators at school tell her she can't wear it. Think about a kid who is trans who wants to come to school wearing I mean, maybe this child has been assigned female at birth, but they want to come wearing like male identified clothes, and you know, and they show up at school and they're like, I'm going to report you to your parents and the authorities and child protection services. That's, can you imagine what that's like as a 12-year-old to be wrestling with your gender or sexual identity and realize and being told very explicitly by the state, literally, that we are going to report you. We're going to have like what was the the I can't remember, but like we're gonna have like a secret police like reporting on you. What would that be like as an 11? I was a queer kid growing up in the South, and I didn't have like a secret police like going around reporting on me, and that was bad enough. So I just wish that like people on the liberal side who are so mad about the hijabs, and people who are on the right side who seemingly want to destroy the lives of um, queer and trans like children and their families, would take a look at the history here and just see the analogies. Um, this is a big bee in my bonnet. Um, I'm sorry I've talked so long, but it really means a lot to me. And like, I've lived with this history. I'm so glad that I'm not a child or a teenager now, because adults are going after children, like not in a pedophile way, like no, like literally adults in state legislatures are trying to ruin the lives of people like who are in middle school or high school. And it's outrageous. It's disgusting. But I would just hope that my friends on the left who are progressive could understand that like banning hijabs for young girls and women is just as oppressive as saying a child that's identified male as birth can't come to school in a skirt, or a young woman can't go to her prom with her girlfriend. Like, it's about free. It's about freedom. It's about free expression. It's about free belief and freedom of life. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry I went for so long, but this has really been bothering me for a long time. So thank you for listening, and I hope you all are well. Um, just stay in the fight and like try to be fair and good to everyone. Okay, thank you. Bye.